Snow White is a story about trying to kill a child. That's not a metaphor. That's not a modern reinterpretation. That's the literal plot. In the original fairy tale, an adult queen orders a child's execution. When the first attempt fails, she doesn't stop. She tries again, and again, and again. There are 4 attempts on Snow White's life. 4 moments where the story could end. 4 chances for mercy. It never takes them. And that matters, because fairy tales were not casual stories. They were told aloud, repeatedly, to children, often by adults who believed the lesson was necessary. Snow White survives, not because she fights back, not because she exposes the queen, not because she learns how to protect herself. She survives because she obeys, because she stays quiet, because she accepts danger as normal. This wasn't written as a love story, it wasn't written as a romance, and it certainly wasn't written to comfort children. It was written as instruction, and the instruction is not subtle. Tonight, we're going back to the version Disney softened and asking what Snow White was really meant to teach. Because once you see how methodical this story is, you'll understand why it had to be made prettier to survive. In the Grimm version of Snow White, the queen is not impulsive. She isn't hysterical. She isn't acting in a sudden burst of jealousy. She is calm. She is rational. And she is patient. Every day she consults a magic mirror, not to admire herself, but to confirm her position. The mirror doesn't flatter. It doesn't soften the truth. It reports hierarchy. And one day, it reports a change. Snow White is more beautiful. The story never defines beauty as mere appearance. Here, beauty is power. It is youth, fertility, the future. Snow White does not challenge the queen. She does not speak. She does not act. She simply exists. And that is enough. The queen does not confront the child. She does not test loyalty. She does not issue a warning. She gives an order. Snow White must be taken into the forest, and she must be killed. The story does not frame this as madness. It frames it as maintenance, power protecting itself. The queen assigns the task to a huntsman. Not a monster, not a demon, a working man, someone who follows orders for a living. He leads Snow White into the forest, a place fairy tales often describe as magical, but which functions here as isolation. There are no witnesses, no help, no escape. Snow White does not resist. She does not run. She does not ask why. She trusts. And here the story hesitates. The huntsman cannot do it. But notice what he does not do. He does not expose the queen. He does not escort Snow White to safety. He does not challenge the order itself. He lets the child go. And then he lies. Snow White survives because one man hesitated, not because the system changed. That distinction matters. Alone in the forest, Snow White does not attempt to return home. She does not look for justice. She does not seek protection. She looks for work. She finds a house and cleans it thoroughly before she even knows who lives there. This is not hospitality. This is audition. When the dwarfs return, Snow White does not demand shelter. She asks permission. They agree. Under one condition. She may stay if she keeps house. This is the first stable arrangement Snow White is offered. And it is explicitly transactional. Her safety depends on her usefulness. The story does not hide the lesson. Good children are obedient. Obedient children are useful. Useful children are allowed to live. And just when this arrangement feels secure, the mirror speaks again. The mirror tells the truth. Snow White is still alive. The queen does not panic. She does not rage. She does not abandon the plan. She adapts. Delegation creates risk. Distance creates uncertainty. So she removes both. She disguises herself, not as a predator, but as something familiar, something ordinary, something safe. This is where the story changes. because now the danger will not announce itself. The queen arrives quietly. She does not threaten, she does not raise her voice. She offers Snow White something practical, something associated with care. A bodice lace. Snow White accepts it. The queen tightens it slowly, deliberately, until Snow White collapses, breathless and unmoving. And then she leaves. No confirmation, no remorse. The dwarfs return. They loosen the lace. Snow White wakes. The story escalates, because now Snow White has been warned, and warning does not save her. The queen returns again. This time, she does not rush. She brings a comb. Poisoned, but ordinary. Deadly, but familiar. Snow White hesitates. She remembers the pain. She remembers the last warning. And this is where the story slows down. Because Snow White is not ignorant anymore. She understands that strangers can be dangerous. She understands that kindness can hide harm. But she also understands something else. Obedience has worked. So far, obedience has kept her alive. The comb touches her hair. She collapses. Once again, the queen leaves without checking, and now the pattern is undeniable. Snow White is not failing to learn. She is learning exactly what the story wants her to learn. The final attempt removes force entirely. No tightening, no sudden movement, just an apple, shared, half poisoned, half safe. The queen eats first. She smiles. She waits. Snow White watches. This is not recklessness. It is logic. If obedience failed before, it was because she hesitated. This time, she doesn't. She bites. And this time, there is no rescue, no undoing, no loosening of laces, no hands pulling poison away. Snow White falls, silent and still. And the queen does not look back. Snow White is placed in a glass coffin, not buried, not mourned, preserved. She is visible, but untouchable, beautiful, but inert, alive enough to admire, dead enough not to resist. She is not rewarded, she is displayed. Her survival is no longer her own, and the story lets her remain this way, waiting. A prince arrives. He does not know Snow White. He has not protected her. He has not suffered with her. He wants her. Depending on the version, he demands the coffin, or her body is jostled until the apple dislodges. Snow White wakes, and the story calls this a happy ending. But nothing about her survival was chosen, nothing about it was earned. Snow White does not become safe because the world changes. She becomes safe because ownership changes. Snow White is not about love. It is about which children survive. Children who obey, children who remain beautiful, children who do not threaten authority. It teaches silence as survival, stillness as virtue, submission as safety. And it was told for generations, not accidentally, but deliberately. If Snow White was a warning about beauty and obedience, the next story goes further. Because in Cinderella, survival doesn't come from silence alone. It comes from enduring abuse long enough that someone else decides you've earned rescue. And the punishment never actually stops. If you want to see that story when it drops, make sure you're subscribed, because the fairy tales were never safe.